This is my 2004 Renault Clio Sport 172. And today we're going to be fixing a couple of things, tidying up a few of the trims on the interior and also giving it a much needed service.
So I pulled the car into the garage so we could begin the work. Now, to get the 172 feeling, looking and driving that bit better, I've gone out and spent over £100 on parts and accessories so we can take that next step to making this the ultimate track day weapon.
If you guys saw the last video of me picking this thing up, then you would have seen that the key was actually not working, but luckily it was literally just a battery. So I replaced the battery and now we can lock and unlock the car. Right, so the first thing that we're going to try and tackle is this airbag light that's on the dash. At the moment, when we start the car, as you can see, the airbag light stays on.
So to get the airbag light to turn off, I'll have to remove this aftermarket wheel so I can get to the airbag connectors behind, which are no longer plugged into anything because there isn't an airbag with this wheel.
So to trick the car in thinking we have an airbag in it, I've got these 22 ohm resistors, and these basically just plug in and then the car thinks that there's an airbag.
Putting both the resistors in was a nice easy job, but even when they were in, there was still an issue.
Even though both the resistors are in, it's just not turning off. I don't know why the airbag light's still on. If you know why, then leave a comment down below because yeah, that doesn't make sense. Maybe I'll try clearing the code and then it will stay away, but yeah, for now I don't know what else to do. All right, so while this steering wheel is off, I'm going to try and put on the new one.
I began by wiring up the horn, which was actually done differently to the old wheel as the horn was separate from the wheel itself. Again, this job was very easy, but I later found out I'd routed the wires wrong and had to redo all the wiring around the side so the plate could fit on flush.
For God's sake. Undo it all, do it all again.
Once it was wired correctly though, I could then connect up the wheel and bolt it all on.
Yeah, the new steering wheel is so much better. The horn's down here. Oh, it's still working. Take the key out. So sick having this in. I think it looks a lot nicer. And the blue goes with the leopard print. Look at that. But speaking of the leopard print, yeah, this has got to go. It is time to get rid of this disgusting leopard print. I don't know who on what planet thought it would be a good idea to wrap an interior with leopard print, but it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And I've got this very cool material that I'm going to be wrapping it in just a second. And I've also got these new A-pillar trims that will tidy up this corner really nicely. So I thought as we're retrimming this in new material, why not also do the A-pillars as well? And the material that we're going to be using is black Alcantara.
So I began with peeling off the leopard print tape, which was very well stuck on, but I had some sticky stuff remover to spray on, and after a few minutes I could scratch the rest off with a Stanley knife. Once that was all off, I brung it inside to start putting the new Alcantara on, and the material came exactly like a wrap would, which you peeled off and stuck on. It was a very long job, but worth every second, and eventually all the trims were wrapped and ready to go back in the car.
So the Alcantara bits are all done and they look and feel so good, and now it's time to get them in the car, starting off with one of the dashboard pieces. Okay, there it is. That blends so seamlessly with the flock dash. That looks so good. Oh, that's so much better than leopard print. Insane. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, the first A-pillar trim piece. Yes, that's just finished that bit of trim off so nicely. The final piece of the puzzle. You have to really push it down. There we go. Every second that has been worth. It took me a couple hours to do all this trimming, but what a transformation.
Now I'd completed tidying up the front of the interior, it was time to tidy up the rear. So I hopped in the back of the car to start putting on these black plastic trim panels to cover up holes which were exposed after being stripped.
Okay, so the side panels are all in. Now, the interior for today is all done. And the last thing that we have to do now is give this a service. So let's get the jack out, get it in the air, start draining the oil, changing the spark plugs and putting on the new oil filter.
So I jacked up the car and this is where things started to go wrong.
Alright, so the car is all jacked up and we have the drain plug for the oil there. Now, there is something quite concerning. There seems to be oil everywhere other than actually in the car. I am not a mechanic and don't know what I'm looking at, and I need your help. So we've got a load of oil seeping out there. Down here, look. I mean, this looks like there's just leaking everywhere. So I need your guys' expert opinions on this. What the hell could all this oil be? There's a bit coming from the exhaust, leaking from there, and it leaves like puddles. Is that just exhaust gases or condensation? I don't know.
After checking the underside of the car, I also came to the realization that I didn't have the right tool to take out the sump plug. So instead, I decided to start on the spark plugs, which is where things got even worse. So I began by removing the rocker cover so that I could access the spark plugs. And then I pulled out one ignition lead, took out a spark plug, put the new one back in, along with the ignition coil, and I repeated this 4 times, one by one, so I didn't mix up the leads. They're not actually that bad condition, I don't think. I think that's alright. I have no idea. I'm not a mechanic, so you might look at them spark plugs and go, that engine's finished, mate. While taking this engine apart, I noticed that this bolt, someone's cross-threaded the actual thread. That's been cross-threaded, so that's just loose. I mean, I can literally pull that out. These 3 are tight. There's a bolt that's meant to be in there. That's just not there either, but it seems solid. Or so I thought. It turns out it really wasn't that solid, and when I went to change the oil, I messed up somewhere bad. So let me run you through what's happened. Now, I've gone under the car to check what tool I need to take the oil out, and I didn't have the right tool, so I had to go away and order a set of square sockets. Now, a few days have passed, the sockets have arrived, so I can now drain the oil. So I go and turn on the engine to heat up all the oil so it's nice and running. And when I've gone to turn it on, it's not gone well. Now, I'm not going to turn it on and repeat what I did, because when I've put the spark plugs back, I've done something wrong, and now when I turn it on, it revs straight up to 4.5k, and just literally, it's like the throttle is stuck open. And obviously, when the car's cold, revving straight up to 4.5k is awful for the car and the engine. So I turned it straight off. And now, the car's just kind of been sitting here for the past week as I've not had time to fix it. But today, hopefully we fix this idle problem, and I think I know what the problem is. Now, when putting all this back together, I kind of just chucked this on and did up these bolts here, and that was kind of it. And what can tend to happen is if the seal isn't put in place properly when it goes back down, too much air will be going inside the engine, and that's why the throttle is now just sticking open at 4.5k, as it's got way too much air going in. So to try and fix this, I decided to take the 3 bolts that hold on the rocker cover off and make sure the seal was sitting nicely and there was no leads in the way, so that when I put back the rocker cover, it sits nice and flush. Hopefully that's done it. If not, then I don't know what's wrong with this car, and it's gonna have to go to a garage to get properly looked at, because if this is still revving at 4.5k from cold, I'm gonna have to get it trailered. Okay, I'm seriously dreading this. Please be okay, please be okay. It's not gonna blow up, but it just sounds like it's gonna blow up. I just gotta be ready to turn it off straight away. Yeah, that's, mate, that's, what the hell have I done? Let me try one more time. Okay. I don't know what that noise is, but it's sitting at 1,800. What's that squeaking noise? I've still got my hand over the key just in case. Something's not right. Something is not properly sealed, so the air is like, it's like whistling where it's sucking in like a tiny bit of extra air. At this point, with the lack of tools and knowledge, I had to admit defeat. But just a couple days later and a slot booked in at the garage, I had a trailer hitched up and was ready to take the Clio. So we pushed it up on the trailer, which really tested my strength. Now it was on the trailer, we could strap it down, and for my first time ever towing, I hit the road. It is go time. I've never towed before, and we are underway. This is not how I expected this video to go. After changing some spark plugs, I'm having to tow it to a garage because I've just messed it up. We have got a great car for towing though. I don't think I could ask for a much better car to tow with, the blooming Defender. We're about 40 minutes to the garage, and then when we're there, we'll unload it, see what they can do, and hopefully they can fix it, solve whatever issues there are, and get this thing back on the road. Oh, bollocks, I didn't, oh, that's annoying. I'm gonna have to go back and get the oil and oil filter for them just to finish that off. Oh, for God's sake, now I've got to turn around. After making the U-turn back home to get the oil, I headed off again to drop it off at the garage. So I eventually made it to the garage and unloaded so that they could work their magic. And a couple days later, I had the phone call to say it was ready. Right, look, we are back in the Clio and they have fixed the damn car. We're back, we're running. We're gonna turn it on and see how this thing now idles. Okay, we're back! I'm gassed to be driving this again. With the new steering wheel, this will be the first drive as well. Let's get straight on the road and I'll tell you exactly what they've done to get this thing back working. So what happened to this thing, and why the hell, after just changing the spark plugs, did this
thing just go haywire and the idle was all over the place. And I'll tell you exactly why. So as you know, when I took apart this thing to do the spark plug change, there were so many bolts that were just round in and not going back in properly because the previous owner had just threaded and cross-threaded everything, right? It just wasn't going back together. So they've had to re-thread and drill all the, like, a load of holes, put a new seal on it as well. So now it's all properly fixed down and sealed. During that process, I said, I can see quite a lot of oil residue going on under this engine bay. Can you check it out and see where it's coming from? And they found not one, not two, but 3 oil leaks on this car. But luckily they're not too serious. One of them's from the drive shaft, the seal around the sump, but it's only dripping, like it's very minor. So at the moment it's fine to drive home. Now we can start the fun stuff. Now we can start doing the roll cage, the bucket seats, changing the color of the car, changing the wheels, doing all this cool stuff, which is what I'm really excited for. Oh mate, what a machine, what a machine.
If you guys are looking forward to us changing the look of this car inside and out, then please like and subscribe because the modifications are coming very soon.